Hi, my name is Joe Painter. This is another edition of What's the Story. Thanks for joining us here on the PEOPLE Chronicles. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on YouTube. Now, you know we like to delve into the stories of the community. So this is a little bit different. We're going to delve into the story of a Kenyan community. And with me is Fred. How are you?
I'm very fine. How are you?
Thanks for joining us. Fred Murai.
Fred Murai, yes.
And what are you doing in Berks County, I guess, is the first question. How did you get here? Because I haven't gotten to visit Kenya yet.
Came here to visit my friend Cindy, of which we met back in Kenya in November last year when we had 8-year Congress.
You had a Congress?
Yeah, in Kenya.
What is a Congress in Kenya?
Where people in the travel industry, they came together.
Okay, so you met her through the world of travel.
Yes.
When you grew up in Kenya, did you travel a lot? How did you get into travel?
No, I didn't travel a lot. I started travel. My first trip, I guess, because I was born in Nairobi, which is the capital city of Kenya, and my mom came from central Kenya, close to Mount Kenya. So I traveled a bit to my mom's place, where she grew up, and from maybe 4 years we moved to the countryside, which is Gilgil, close to Nakuru. Nakuru is the biggest town.
What constitutes the biggest town? How big is it?
It's a district.
A district?
With a population of close to 1 million.
Oh, okay. That's pretty big.
Yeah. So I grew up there. But then when we moved there, we didn't live in a my dad was not rich, so we didn't travel that much.
Okay, so if you didn't travel, what was your childhood like? What did you do?
Yeah, we had challenges like any other developing countries, their communities, they have challenges. So
what would the biggest challenge?
Water and food.
Water.
And food, I guess, the biggest challenges.
Well, they're the basic necessities of life, water and food. How were you challenged? There wasn't enough?
Yeah, we didn't have running water, like a tap at home, so we had to go for like 10 to 15 kilometers to get water.
You walked 10
Yes.
to 15 kilometers just for water?
Yes, and you have to carry like 10 liters, and my mom would carry like 40 liters. So we had to do that twice.
Twice a day?
Or 3 times.
And you did this with your mom?
Yes.
And we go to a spigot and we turn it on. That's a big difference.
Yeah, it was like from 8 years.
When you started to go walk for water, was it your chore, your job as a member of the family?
Yeah, because from the big family, I was the oldest. And boys are recognized to be more stronger, so you have to go and fetch water.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I come from a big family.
You come from a very big family.
13 kids, 8 boys, 5 girls.
I'm 8 kids, 5 boys, 3 girls, so a little bit smaller, but big. And you're right, the oldest has a lot more responsibility.
Yes, because you have to take care of the younger ones and help out your parents.
So how did that experience? You're growing up, you're the oldest of 13 children, you're walking 2 to 3 times a day to get water, which is a basic need with your mom. How did that shape your future and what you're doing now?
You know, at that point, it didn't bother me at all because, you know, it's like that's the only thing you can see. But later, in a few years, my dad managed to buy a car and we used that to fetch the water. But from that, where we lived from, because it's countryside, we crossed to wild animals. So they used to come at our home place. And from the Kenya Wildlife Services, which is rangers for the wildlife in Kenya, they raised money and to give people running water so that they have water at their homes so they can appreciate the coexistence with the wild animals.
So where you grew up now has running water?
Yes.
And it's because of the Wildlife Association?
Yes, okay. Because when you have these wild animals, they come in, they break in to your farm and they eat the crops. So for them to give compensation to everybody, across the board, they give you pipes of water, and then you tap the water from the main source and you have a running water.
So wait a minute, that's compensation for allowing the wildlife to run free and in turn damage your crops?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Either way, you have to wake up in the middle of the night to, guard your crops. But still, you won't see it. In a way, they have helped you that you have running water. So during the day, you can do some other stuff instead of you going collecting the water. So you won't feel the pain of standing out at night and watch the animals.
So what animals were you guarding from? What kind of animals?
We have zebras, we have elands, we have antelopes, we have buffaloes.
See, now here we go to zoos to visit these animals, and there you were one with the animals.
Yeah, it's
very different.
Very strange. Yeah. Very strange. For us, we don't go to the zoo.
You don't. Why? There's one big difference.
They either come to you or you go to them. But
so from that experience, how did you get involved? Obviously, you're in travel. How did you get involved in travel?
From the time we got tapped water, of which you had running water, Gilgil is kind of semi-arid area, so we have these dry seasons that are longer than the rainy season. So the wild animals would come close by our home where we have the feeding trap for the animals that we have, the livestock, and we would feed them water. And I guess from development nowadays, I see it's a bit of challenge that the animals can't get access of this basic needs for them as well. Water is basic need for them as well. So that's the reason why I had to move into wild animals.
So and those animals are near and dear to you. While you were protecting crops from them, you like them.
Yes, it's the love of animals.
Yeah.
It's the love of animals.
So that has led you to develop safari tours, and now you travel the world? Safari land tours?
Safari land tours work in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda.
Okay, so you're working basically in the African continent.
Yes, which is East
But you're
Africa.
here in Berks County, so you get to travel as a result of that, right?
Yes, I have to kind of travel looking for clients and make them feel comfortable to come and visit our country and also feel comfortable to work with me.
So you're here, and now we learned a little bit about how you grew up. What surprises you here? Because like if I came to Kenya, I think I'd be going, wait a minute, the animals are, the fact that they're loose and they could be in the backyard might be a little intimidating to me. You know, if a big jaguar or a bison came out, that might be intimidating. What have you found here that's a little odd to you?
Yeah, like you guys have a lot of running water all the time. You never get challenges with water. And also, when you go to for a walk, you don't have a challenge. Like you can go for a walk by yourself whenever you feel like. For us, you have a lot of things to worry about. We have poisonous snakes, we have dangerous animals. That is something that you have to consider. You have to really have lived in that area for you to go for a walk, for example.
I feel after this conversation that we're very secluded or removed from nature, where you're very one with nature. I don't worry about animals when I walk, and I don't even think about water. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you're right, that we take that for granted.
I think so. But also, I guess, depends from where you are brought up. You know, here, it's kind of everybody's brought up in a city sort of life, of which, from where I grew up, I think, when you're close to the nature, you feel more openness to anything.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rural here, a lot of rural areas, a lot of farmland, but still there's running water everywhere. Some other things I learned. So you wouldn't call me Joe, would you?
No, I'll need to know like your oldest kid.
Billy.
And then Billy, so I'll call you Mama Billy.
I'm Mama Billy
Your Mama Billy, yes.
because he's my son.
Because he's your son.
So we're always referred to by our firstborn?
Yes.
Doesn't that make the secondborn feel neglected?
In a way, no, because it's a cultural thing. So
Okay.
he'll grow up knowing that, so he'll never feel bad about it. But also, parents, they are more proud if they have firstborn as a boy.
Oh,
So
why?
to other communities, they feel like that family is more well protected. After sometimes, if you have only girls, they get married and they're gone, so you're left by yourself. So
right.
you have no protection.
Is that then, since you're the oldest, a larger burden on you, say, than your younger brothers?
Yes.
Responsibility,
yes,
maybe.
Yes and no. No, because depending with how I was brought up in the family, I don't see it like a responsibility. I see it like part of life.
Oh.
And no, because it's a burden on you.
So, as you've met families here, and maybe you haven't met a whole lot, I don't know how long you're in the United States touring, are our families different? Do you feel that yours is closer, ours are closer? Are there differences, or are we the same?
Oh, it's a big difference. It's a big difference.
What's the biggest difference?
Like the way kids talk to their parents here is very different from what we are used to.
How?
With us, we kind of give parents a lot of respect, and also you can't talk to them like eye contact. You don't do eye contact with your parents. You have to look down a bit to show respect.
So that is respectful.
Yes.
Wow.
In Africa, yes.
And so if I was visiting Africa and I'm talking with you now, and I don't mean to be, am I disrespectful? Looking straight into your eye versus looking down a little bit?
If you're meeting someone who is older than you, you kind of have to look down. But if they are younger than you are, then you have to look at them and they look down.
Then I'm going to go like this. No,
Yes.
I don't know if you're I want to be younger. So you've noticed some big differences. What is, before we wrap it up, because we have to go, one thing or something that you'd really like to share about your culture, and like this is near to me. It's maybe a little bit of home when you're traveling. I remember this, and you share it here because it reminds you of home.
Food.
Ah.
Food is a big challenge here. It's like I have to see if we walk into a restaurant, I have to see what I need before I order. Because otherwise, most of the food that they have here is not what we have. So it's a bit of a challenge with taste.
So you're
as well,
looking
yes.
for tastes of home.
Yes.
And what's your favorite taste of home?
Meat.
Meat. Any
Goat
kind?
Meat. Goat meat.
Goat meat.
Yes.
That's hard to find here.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you guys don't have enough goats. At some point they get finished.
Yeah, that's not what. And pizza doesn't do anything for you, I guess.
No, pizza. Pizza is for rich people.
For what?
For rich people.
Oh, it's for rich people. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's some big differences. And what did you find the same? What did you find as common?
Bread, though we don't have much of bread. Burgers, we don't have burgers at home. Potatoes, yes.
How about in
Potatoes is
just
common.
meeting people, not in food? What is something in common that you go, oh, okay, this feels like home? Anything?
Yeah, if we meet people back home, you don't ask where are you from, what are you doing here.
Oh.
That will kind of come on its own. And also, like when they are talking, they want to look at your eyes. So to us, it's very strange.
Like all these questions I just asked you, right? I'm going to stop on that note. I really appreciate you sharing yourself and your time and your culture with us here on the People Chronicles, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you. Most welcome.
My pleasure.
Want to know more about who's doing what in Berks County? Check out the stories on thepeoplechronicles.com.
These community stories are made possible in part by BCTV, Susie Ray Design, Queen City Family Restaurant, Lamar Advertising, Heidelberg Family Restaurant, Reading Air, Lions and Hole, Peanut Bar, and Kutztown University.